to this video from Mysuru Jyotishalaya, where we will be discussing about possible remedial actions one can take at any stage in life with the view of improving overall quality of life. First step in finding out possible remedial actions is to make a horoscope and analyze the horoscope. You can see on screen the kind of report we make. We have hidden the name and other things, personal identifiers for confidential reasons. Otherwise, this is the kind of report one gets after the analysis of a horoscope, and I would deal further as to how remedial actions, what remedial actions are possible and what we can do with it. There are 4 possible remedial actions possible. The first one is the use of 9 gems, or what we otherwise known as call them as Navaratna. The second one is the use of Navadanya, or 9 grains. The original text of astrology talks about many possible yogas, yagnas, and very elaborate religious rituals. These are something which we don't practice that much, and we generally avoid them, as in our experience, it is extremely impossible to validate what kind of a benefit we can derive from it. So for the scope of this video, we are not covering this aspect of it, because generally we don't use it that much. The last option, which I would call it a newer option, is about making lifestyle options. And this is something which in many ways we believe we are introducing as a new option that one can make with the analysis of the horoscope. Let us discuss in detail the use of gems as a remedial action. In all horoscopes, there are beneficial planets, but not all beneficial planets will be in equal strength, and some beneficial planets can be weak. They will not be in a position to deliver results intended. This is where we make use of gems to boost the strength of the planet. Gems are high refractive index material. When cut in a certain shape, there will be total internal reflection of a specific frequency, and a specific frequency resonates. This is how a strength of the planet gets boosted. What happens here is very much similar to what happens when an anemic person with a low hemoglobin count is prescribed an iron tonic with the view of increasing the human hemoglobin level. This is what happens with the use of gems as well. Here I am talking about few facts about gems. I have talked about which finger to use and what is the minimum size of the gem that is to be used. Mostly it is 2 carat is the minimum size. Only diamond, which is a very glittering gem, 30 cents is sufficient. One can use a higher size if they like to wear, but that is not going to give a proportionately better results. One key thing to note here is which finger to wear and how to wear is not extremely important. They are just a mere guideline. When we are talking about constant wear, the comfort for constant wear is paramount. Different people face different kind of a situation. Let us take any healthcare worker, right from a surgeon to a ward boy in any hospital. They need to use gloves, and whenever they are wearing rings and use of glove, they don't get along very well with each other. So if they need to remove the gem which is used in the form of a ring for a very long time, the effectiveness of wearing the gem wanes down. That is why they can make use of a pendant or some other form of putting the gem on their body. There are other kinds of situations as well. For example, if you want to prescribe a gem for a school going child, wearing any jewelry on their body can be a security threat. This is where we advise that one can use an amulet. One can pack the amulet with a silk cloth and then place the gem inside it and pack it again with the cloth and close the lid of the amulet. They can shake, they can check there is no shake of the gem, because if the gem is shaking, there will be wear and tear for the gem. This kind of an amulet can be tied with a thread to the neck, to the hand or waist, whichever way it is comfortable for the child, and this will not be a security issue. This can be a good way of constant wear. So the key here is the comfort to wear and nothing else. Lastly, we need to figure out where in our analysis report you will find the recommendation of the gem. It is usually on the right bottom corner box, and there is a color coding we use, that is green, just to help people who cannot read the language, and they can surely recognize the color. Next, we come to use of Navadhanya, or the 9 grains. In the earlier situation, we talked about how to boost the strength of a planet. Similarly, all horoscopes contain adversarial planets. Some of the adversarial planets will surely be coming in the way of progress that we want to make in any specific aspect of life. The strength of those planets can be muted to some degree with the use of Navadhanya. Each planet has a grain, and there are 9 planets and there are 9 grains. That is why we call the name Navadhanya. Adversarial planet exists in all horoscopes, and adversarial planet needs to be muted as it helps us to accomplish what we want to accomplish. Navadhanya is not used to mute the impact of planets. Navadhanya has the ability to absorb planetary strain upon coming into contact with our palms. This works like turning down a volume knob. Let us now discuss the method adopted in using the 9 grains. Every day morning we take bath, and what happens is our body will be externally clean. This status of body we call it as Bahiranga Shuddhi. And we also have a habit of praying God. Definitely most of us will have. If some of us don't, they can cultivate this particular habit. When we pray God, we forget about everything that is happening in our mind or surrounding us, and we bring God into our focus. This is what is known as Antaranga Shuddhi, or internal cleansing. So when the body is externally and internally clean, what happens is the effectiveness of what we do would be much more. That is why we choose this time. This is only the status of body and mind, and this is not a specific time in the clock. Some people who work in shifts may do this at 6 in the morning, or sometime in the afternoon, or late in the night as well. That doesn't matter. The status of body and mind is the key. At this point in time, we use our palm. Why palm? Palm has the path of least resistance in the body. That is why in Hindu mythology, when elders are wishing the younger ones, or the god is giving a boon, the palm is used. We just make sure the palm is clean and there is no moisture in it, because if we touch the grains with moisture, the grains will get spoiled. So a simple wipe with a towel would help in ensuring that the palm is not just clean, it is dry as well. At this point in time, we take the specified grain, 1 fistful. And why 1 fistful? Because we would like to trap them in between the palm. We roll it few times. The rolling action actually will make the grains go up and down, and the grains sitting on top of each other will move, and a better contact is made with the palm. And then we can store these grains in a container. This is a simple exercise we do for every grain that is prescribed. We can use some chanting of mantra, it is entirely optional. This is what that needs to be done for every grain that is prescribed. Now, the next thing is what to do after collecting the grain in the container. There are only 2 conditions here. Since we have used the grain to remove the dosha or the affliction from our body, we ourselves using it makes it a zero-sum game. So this is not for self-consumption is the first condition. The second condition is there has to be gainful disposition. In Sanskrit we say sadviniyoga. In olden days, offering it to the priest in the temple was a very popular form of sadviniyoga. In those days, priest life was dependent on charity, and there was some amount of positive excitement in the process. Unfortunately, with changing time, the greed has taken over human beings from the need. So even forget about a priest, even a beggar is not excited when we offer these grains to them. Under such situations, the parallel forms of Sadviniyoga or gainful disposition of these grains are feeding any animal. It can be a cow, it can be a horse, sheep or a goat. It can be feeding birds. It can be disposing of in any water body nearby, a pond, lake, river or sea or whatever. The aquatic life inside the water would feed over it, and there is significant positive excitement here or Sadviniyoga here, because these animals have only the need for food and they don't have any greed. So people can use any of these things depending on what is easy for them to follow. Now let us see, where do you find our dana recommendation? In our report, it would be on the left side bottom box, and usually the color coding for this is red. Now we come to the last option and the most important option, that is lifestyle options. Choice and options were relatively unknown words during old time when astrology was conceived. So everything was set pattern. There was no concept of the son of a farmer becoming a doctor and the son of a doctor becoming a farmer. These kinds of wide changes in life wasn't very normal, was unheard of. So everyone was following a set routine that was working for them since generations. But today there is no life without choice and options. We have come a long way. There are 40 different forms of exercise to hundreds of different forms of diet, to everything else we do, there is choice. So in current situation, lifestyle options or choices can be used as an effective tool to bring about significant changes in life. If somebody's situation is that of being under significant mental stress, one can use any form of positive diversion of mind to make the situation better. That can be listening to music, that can be exercising, that can be watching movies, to any kind of leisure activities they would like to engage in, and they can keep changing depending on how effective it is on them. Similarly, there are many such lifestyle options one can take. If someone's body cannot take wear and tear, then they should not do exercises of the nature like an aerobics or something which causes a huge wear and tear. They should go for something like a yoga or something similar. Whereas in some other cases, if the endurance of the body is very good, which we can easily determine from the analysis of an horoscope, they can use very active form of exercise, including a gym and all that. One significant thing about lifestyle change is all of us have strengths, all of us have weaknesses, and all of us have certain circumstances in life we are dealing with. The lifestyle change option is all about finding ways and means to leverage our strength better, camouflage our weaknesses, and positioning ourselves very well with dealing with the situation on hand. This is how we can bring about a very good positive change in overall quality of life. Finally, we should summarize what to expect with remedial action. First thing to remember is there is no magic here, there is only logic. That is the first thing that all of us should remember. This cannot completely transform anybody's life. If there are only 34 marks in red in somebody's mass card, if it turns into 36 in green, even though the change in marks is only 2, it's a magical difference. That is the kind of effect one should expect from any of these things. To summarize further, there is no way one can completely clean the stones, thorns and potholes in the way of someone by using any of these remedial action. But it is possible to provide people with a footwear. Thorns getting stuck onto the footwear and thorns getting stuck onto the foot are very different when it comes to how do we feel in terms of the pain associated with it. Similarly, nobody can stop the rain, but one can provide an umbrella. This is exactly what can be done in terms of using remedial action. Chasing magic is definitely insane. There is no doubt on that. But no one is chasing magic here. It's all about leveraging our strength, camouflaging our weaknesses, and making the right options to deal with the situation in life. And when we plan and execute in a planned way, it would be a smart life. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you.